Hey everybody, welcome to Train Caps Exclusive Analysis. What the heck is happening with Netflix? Why is it falling so sharply? What do we need to know that is happening potentially in a major acquisition rivalry bid? So first things first, Netflix has been falling pretty sharply ever since it announced a major takeover announcement, potentially wanting to acquire Warner Bros. Discovery, ticker WBD. So Netflix announced an acquisition bid for roughly between $72 to $83 billion for WBD. This would so-called add a huge amount of content and nevertheless become a major communications and streaming monopoly. And there's certainly potentially some regulatory issues that we need to discuss with this Netflix potentially acquisition. Just recently, last night, Trump expressed his concerns over his Truth Social and X, saying that there needs to be some sort of regulatory body that needs to look into this. Now, whether or not that is political motives or family motives, we all know that Trump has family ties to Jared Kushner, his son-in-law, who actually works for Paramount Global, the board that is trying to acquire and counterbid Netflix's bid for Warner Bros. Discovery. So we have these two massive companies, Paramount Skydance and Netflix, both trying to acquire Warner Bros. Discovery. You have Trump that is tied to Jared Kushner, his son-in-law, who is sitting on the Paramount board. And basically, Paramount is now coming in and trying to raise the bid for Netflix. So interestingly enough, I think Netflix is in this sweet spot where, one, it was the first person to the party, being the fact that it's leading the charge for acquisition of Warner Bros. Discovery, but now it's had a counter bid from Paramount Skydance. So one of the major reasons I think Netflix has sold off is because whenever an acquisition is announced, it is a major CapEx spending event. So hypothetically, let's say this doesn't go through. What would likely happen to Netflix stock? I think the stock would actually rebound pretty sharply because investors would not be needing to be worried about that huge capex expenditure, therefore diluting their share base. And secondly, I've heard a lot of speculation about the fact that, okay, Netflix now has to pay Warner Bros. Discovery potentially, what was it, a $5.8 billion breakup fee if the deal doesn't go through. Well, here's the thing. If that deal gets voted on by Warner Bros. Discovery, if they take the Paramount Skydance deal and vote down Netflix's deal, Netflix is no longer on the hook for that $5.8 billion fee. In fact, the company that gets the acquisition now is on the hook to pay Netflix out roughly, I think, $2.5 billion, $2.8 billion. So we have this worst case scenario where Netflix is sold off on high capex spending. If the deal goes through, I think the stock can get a bump up. If the deal doesn't go through, I think you're going to get that $2.8 billion payoff that goes directly to Netflix, and then the stock is going to rebound. So I think we're in this technical phase where Netflix is kind of sitting pretty the best of both worlds on a technical long standpoint. I think you've had a really, really decent sell-off from the high pivot over here. You've gone through a split, so you've had a lot of retail accumulation. You're backtesting a weekly pivot breakout bar here. This is the area that I want to see Netflix close back above because this was your breakout bar where this was your previous all-time high in Netflix, and then you finally broke through back here in early April, late April. That is the big area to retest. You've done a really, really decent low upsloping trendline liquidity sweep of this massive trend line. So this is a big area for Netflix on your overall time frame. If we go to the monthly chart, one thing I want to show you is very, very impressive. Today, Netflix actually backtested. If we throw in some of our key moving averages, Netflix actually backtested the monthly 20 moving average. You can see the monthly 20 moving average was pretty much tagged to the penny at 95.93, and we did bounce off of that key level. The last time Netflix broke out through the monthly 20 moving average was right around here in 2023. So all eyes will be on whether or not the acquisition goes through. Again, if it does, I think it'll bounce. If it doesn't, I still think it will bounce off of this technical level because Paramount basically raising their deal just recently for Warner Bros. Discovery, upping their bid to, what did they up their bid to? I think it's over 100 million is just mind-blowingly crazy. So obviously there's a two behemoths are at a fight here for Warner Bros. Discovery, and we will certainly see which one wins in the coming sessions.